Welcome to Cocktails in the Organic Aisle, an open table discussion where three natural moms, Christy, Jodi, and Rachel, come together to dish out their unique recipe for health and wellness while living in a busy, conventional world. Grab a cocktail, pull up a chair, and let's chat.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Cocktails in the Organic Aisle.
Cheers!
So most people know that I really like chickens. I've kept chickens in my backyard. You know, why would someone keep chickens? Maybe for companionship.
Wait, stop. You already also kept chickens in your apartment in New York.
Oh, that's true. I did. Companionship, you know, like we watch movies together and stuff. But also, you know, they obviously make food. They lay eggs, which are nutritious, are great, you know, fillers for our stomachs. But, you know, when you go to the grocery store, if you don't have chickens in your backyard or you don't have, you know, a source, like a local source, you go to the grocery store and you see all these different types. You see pasture raised and cage free and, you know, I don't know, non-GMO fed and vegetarian. Like all of these things are really hard.
So confusing.
It's so
I remember
confusing.
at the beginning, I was like, what? I have no idea what it means.
And maybe you don't even realize that there's so many different types of eggs at first. So we rallied Christy into giving us all the information you need to know so that when you go to the grocery store or when you find a local chicken farmer, you can ask them these questions, you know, ask them about the feed and all of the things that we'll go over today. So I'm excited.
And if you didn't realize, you know, if you just think that words on the package don't mean anything, they really do. And there is a really big difference between what all those pasture raised, cage free things mean. So Christy today is going to help you make that non-confusing for people who are starting out, especially because it is very confusing at the beginning.
We'll see. Maybe, hopefully, I can make you not confused. But like they were saying, there are so many different options when we go to the grocery store where you're like, oh my gosh, I want healthy eggs, but what do I do? But it's really important to know that not all eggs are treated equally, I guess. So just because it's an egg doesn't mean it's a good egg. So I'm going to tell you a lot about the packaging and what to look for at the grocery store, but also how you can tell if an egg you have is a good egg or bad egg. And
I hate bad eggs.
Bad eggs. You don't want bad eggs in your life. But also some of the nutritional information about eggs too, which is super important. So first of all, eggs are one of the healthiest and most versatile foods we have. Yep. They are so good for you. So good for you. They contain vitamin A, folate, B5, B12, B6, B2, vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin K, calcium, zinc, phosphorus, selenium, and more. Like they're filled with a lot of great vitamins.
And this goes back to an episode of fat where, you know, when the whole fat trend of low fat, no fat, eggs were also banned on that because of the source of fat that they are.
And I'll talk, with the cholesterol stuff.
Yes.
But so just so you know, like one large egg contains 1 gram of carbs and about 6 grams of protein. So really great source of protein in the morning. And they've been shown to trigger hormones that increase feelings of fullness. So when you eat them, you feel full and that you've had.
Which is why I love when my kids have eggs in the morning.
Yeah,
Starting off good.
Mm-hmm. And it's also important to eat the entire egg. I remember at some point in life, it was like, only eat the egg whites.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
And,
so gross.
But like, most of the egg's nutrients are found in the yolk,
Yeah.
which includes the antioxidants to help, you know, with eye health and all kinds of things. And although egg yolks are high in cholesterol, there's a misconception. Consuming them doesn't mean that it doesn't raise your blood cholesterol levels in most people. So in fact, eggs appear to modify the size of LDL particle in a way that reduces the risk of heart disease. So
It's so interesting.
Yeah, it's very misconception. There's a lot of misconceptions in the food industry, and that was one of them. That, you know, the incredible edible egg, yes, but then people were like, oh, don't eat the yolks, and that's what you want to eat. That's the good part.
Side story, that used to be my favorite part of the egg. Like at Easter, everybody who hated the yolks would give me their hard-boiled oats, and I would just sit there and eat it.
So you were getting
Obviously, I wasn't doing it in moderation.
That's why you were getting all the good.
But yeah, I was getting all the good fun, all the good good nutrients.
Yeah, so there's so much I want to talk about, but part of it is how the hens are how they're raised, and also the labeling, and also what to look for when you're shopping. So it can be confusing. You mentioned this.
Very
Literally,
much so.
when you go to the grocery store, it's like so many different things. You have vegetarian fed, non-GMO, organic, pasture-raised, cage-free,
brown,
free
white,
range, grade, this and that,
Yeah.
and certified humane. Like, what does all that mean? Like, it's very confusing. And except for certified organic, the U.S. government does not set definition requirements for egg carton labels. So, you know, people can have different things on there, and a lot of it's not regulated.
Really?
Also, where your hen could live on like the size of one sheet of paper to like acres and acres of land, which does make a difference in the nutrients, which I'll talk about too.
Yeah.
And so a lot of farms allow their chickens to be outdoors, but sometimes it's for a different amount of time, and you really just need to, hopefully what I tell you will help you be able to pick a good egg for that. So I want to talk about the environment first. So conventional eggs. Conventional eggs are going to be your white eggs that you see. These are the ones you see at all the supermarkets. I mean, they're your basic egg. And the first thing I'm going to tell you is don't buy these. Like, they're just not that great for you.
They're the cheapest.
They're the
but
cheapest.
You're not healthiest.
Yeah, and I don't want to get into too much specifics, but they're from hatcheries with poor conditions, and just they're not a great product to consume. They're usually raised in overfilled hen houses and cages and things. The hens never even see the light of day. And like, just think about like, if you yourself, if your body was, if you never saw the light of day, like you wouldn't be doing pretty good.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be doing well as a human.
Yeah.
So what do you think the chickens are when they are fed, you know, they're fed grain-based crap and supplemented with vitamins and minerals, and also just, they're just, a lot of them have very inhumane practices too, which if you look for certified humane, which I'll get into that helps, but just really bad things that, you know, they trim the beaks to prevent foraging and pecking, and
which is where they get all their nutrients.
Yeah,
They're
well,
the bugs that
But
they
not
eat.
that
and
they're
everything.
foraging on dead trees
Yeah.
that are
Exactly.
That's right.
On their
The-
feces.
Yeah.
and-
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so the
Yeah.
nutritional value in a conventional egg is horrible because it just, you know, they're crappy.
Yeah.
And then they add in synthetic vitamins to the feed, and it's impossible to replace all the great nutrients that they're
Yeah.
missing from not eating that natural diet, the bugs and the worms and the things that they would out on a pasture. So conventional eggs, just kind
Have
of
you noticed how paper thin a conventional
I'll talk
egg
about
shell
that.
is?
Yep.
It
So
is
that's
amazing.
part of the reason of knowing how you have a good egg is the hardness of the
Yeah.
shell. And the thicker the shell is a better
Yes.
egg than the white ones
Yes.
that are paper thin. Absolutely.
I remember I got an egg from a neighbor a while back, years ago, and you know, I was getting the brown eggs, and I mean, you really got to crack them. You can just feel that they're hard and they're dense. And I remember getting one, and I'm like, it just shattered. And I remember learning that the amount of nutrients, you can tell when a chicken has had a lot of nutrients by the hardness of the shell, because that's what makes, so all these white eggs that are paper thin are not getting the nutrients.
Yep, absolutely not.
I mean, that was literally like physical proof right there. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Right.
Makes so much sense.
Absolutely. And then, so the next term, cage free, which I think you've all heard of cage free eggs. The term is regulated by the USDA, so it means that they're in a barn, but they're not in cages. So they must be housed in a building. They should be able to roam in closed area that allows for unlimited access to food, water, and provides them the freedom to roam. But honestly, it's not that much better. They're just not, they're still in these hen houses. They don't have to go outside.
Yeah.
It just means that they're not in a cage.
Have you seen the pictures?
I've visited a poultry free range farm.
Cage free.
Or
Cage free.
Yeah.
Free range. Or the
Okay.
free,
Yeah.
or cage free. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, so
yeah.
they're in the building. There was like a tiny window
Yeah.
and a door.
So they're not, I remember.
Like, for like us to like look into, but like
Yeah.
it's like a jail cell
Yeah.
window, like this.
Yeah.
It's literally like this long, I remember just seeing so many pictures of these long things. They're cage free, but
so
they're
long, yeah. Oh, it's
thousands of
packed.
chickens packed together,
Yeah, and
walking
they're
and all,
still-
and it's like,
They're still getting
ew,
fed
that
the
is not any
grains. They're not
better.
getting fed their natural, what they would
Yeah.
naturally eat.
I mean, and they can trample on each other, and like some
Right.
die, and you don't even know for so long
Yeah.
because
Exactly.
you know, like the
Yeah. So, and then you have free
Yeah.
range. So this is another USDA term, and it means that the hens have some sort of access to outside. So it simply means that there's a door that exists, and the farmer could open it at some time, like to let them out. But it doesn't absolutely mean that they are like free ranging on the lovely lands, you know,
Yeah.
out in the
Yeah.
wilderness. So,
So again,
It's a
that means
scam.
basically nothing.
It's like a total scam.
Yes. So pasture raised, and this is where I'm going to focus a lot of my attention because these are the eggs I really do recommend. But the funny thing is, pasture raised is a term that is not regulated by the USDA. However, a lot of the egg brands that I love, and I'll share with you some that I recommend, are so transparent. Like you go to their website and they like talk about there's pictures of their chickens like out in the grass. And I know, of course, there's advertising and marketing. You got to be careful but a lot of these companies that are pasture raised, they have nothing to hide because they know they're giving you the best chicken.
And that's what I love about even smaller companies like that, family owned, or just companies who truly believe in what they're doing, their mission of that. All these, the other ones that are, you just don't know. I mean, they literally could put that on there, but they're not following it.
And a lot of them on their packaging says tell how much acres they have. Like it's range on 100, they'll tell you like square foot per chicken. And so you're like, oh, and a lot of them also have like the certified, if they're pasture raised, they have the certified humane, which is a third party that comes in and like looks at the farm, looks how the chickens are raised. And so that's how you know too that, okay, I think a lot of those certifications have to have 108 square foot per chicken. So, I mean, that's better than a piece of paper where one chicken can be.
For sure.
Also, the eggs, pasture-raised eggs, are higher in fat omega-3s, which are known to reduce blood levels of triglycerides, which is a well-known risk for heart disease. But a lot of your standard eggs are higher in omega-6s, and I'm going to talk about your omegas in a minute, but you want higher. We eat so many omega-6s that you have to supplement sometimes with your omega-3s. So by eating pasture-raised eggs, you're going to help balance because we're getting so many omega-6s in our American diet. So that's all referring to the environment that they're lived in, but also it's important what your chickens are fed, because it's like what they eat, it's gonna have an impact on what they're laying.
Just like meat, just like cow meat or ground beef and everything. It's so important.
It's a cycle. So the first word I want to talk about, I know we've talked about this word before, is natural, because a lot of the packaging you'll see is natural. And why I love natural things, everything is, if it's like an egg, all eggs are technically natural. Like it's all coming out of a chicken, everything could be natural. So they can, I think, according to the USDA, natural eggs must be minimally processed and contain no artificial ingredients. But really, natural doesn't mean anything. So it's just a term you're going to see on a lot of eggs. Organic. So this is, cocktails in the organic aisle. Trust me, I'm fully supporting organic food. We follow like the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15 and try to really buy organic when we can. But with eggs, it's a little bit different. So just because you see organic doesn't mean I would go for a pasture-raised egg over an organic raised egg, and I'll tell you why. But organic really just means that the feed that they're getting fed, they could still be in cage-free, still in those like what do you call them? Hatcheries. And getting fed organic grains. It's usually just corn, and that's not better than being out in a pasture. So it's a little bit tricky with organic. So I tend to always buy organic, but it's a little bit different with eggs. They're better, well, organic eggs are definitely better than non-organic eggs. They still are fed corn, which has the high omega-6s, which is the ones that you want to try to avoid.
It's just not balanced. Their diet is not balanced at all.
Or natural. Their natural diet is foraging on the bugs and everything outside.
Exactly. So another term you'll see is non-GMO, and again, I'm not a big supporter of GMOs, which is great that you'll see that, but all that means when it comes to an egg is that the hen was fed from a non-GMO feed. So still, it could be a non-GMO corn, which is still better, but that's all it means is what the chicken is consuming, that it's non-GMO. So that is the feed. And then vegetarian fed. So this is another kind of interesting term you'll see on eggs, vegetarian fed, and some people will be like, oh, chickens are vegetarians. It's like, no, they're not. They're supposed to be eating bugs and worms and grubs and all those things.
Ticks.
Everything out there. And so vegetarian fed hens, they're fed the corn that's high in the omega-6s, which creates inflammation in your body. That's why you don't want to eat those grain, when they're fed those grains of those the omega-6s, because you don't want those. They cause inflammation, which causes chronic diseases.
It's a whole circle.
Yep, and we have to balance out by supplementing with fish oil. But if we eat good eggs, which are higher in omega-3s, we can eliminate some of that inflammation and eliminate the need to supplement as much if you have those. No hormones. Sorry, I'm like running through these, but it's like
there's so much good information about eggs.
No hormones. You'll say like, oh, well, yeah, I don't want hormones in my food, you know. But it's a surprise that the federal regulations have banned hormones since the 1950s. However, a lot of labels say no antibiotics, no hormones on eggs, and it's just trying to make you think that other farmers do. So it's a really sneaky term because you're not supposed to have that. You know, so when they say that, none of them are supposed to have that, but you'll see that on packaging all the time because I think it's just trying to say, well, other people might do it, but we don't, but no one's can. So
it's just another way to make it look healthy.
Exactly, another term. So that's kind of what they're fed, but it's also important to me personally on how animals are treated and how, you know, making sure that they're humanely raised. And there's a few certification programs, the animal welfare certification, and I'm not going to get too much into it, but a lot of them, you know, do treat their hens very poorly. So if you can, I mean, look for your certified humane and American Humane certified eggs. It'll just be like a little stamp of approval. Now I know sometimes you have to pay money to get into these things, so I can't guarantee, but it does mean that a third party is looking at the farms. It's made up of veterinarians and animal welfare scientists. And so they're continually looking at that, looking at the lighting, the air, food requirements, do they have a place to perch, like all of the things that can help a hen be in its, you know, in a good state. And so if you can, look for those. I mean, I think not every like brand I'm gonna recommend, I don't think has one. I checked their website, it's not on their package, but I know it's a good egg for a couple reasons, and I'll tell you in a minute. But before I get into that, backyard chickens. I do want to talk a little bit about backyard chickens because I wish everybody could have them, myself included. It is a goal.
I hope they have some soon.
I know, it is a goal because those three things I talked about, the environment, what they're fed, and how they're treated, those three things you are able to control if you have them in your backyard. So I know Rachel loved her backyard chickens.
I know. I had a big bad raccoon coming around, so I had to replace my remaining chickens until I can. I mean, the raccoons are smart. It was locking. It was unlocking the lock from the other side of the wall from the outside.
Crazy.
It wasn't. I mean, I couldn't have even done it. I don't know how it was getting
bandit.
I mean, seriously.
But
but I know I miss them, and I miss the eggs, and Ari misses them.
We'll get them back sometime.
Yeah.
So, so what is the best choice? I gave you a lot of information. What is truly the best choice? My first say, well, get chickens in your backyard. But a lot of you are going to say, well, I cannot do that. Thankfully, I live in a city that you have to look at your city's laws if you're like in city limits. But mine allows that. Actually, I think my small little street of like 15 people, I think 3 people have backyard chickens, which is awesome. So that would be my first pick, but I get that not everybody can do that. My second would be organic pasture raised with a certified humane label. However, those are hard to find, your organic pasture humane label, and more expensive. Which I'll talk about price here in a minute. But what we buy, if I'm just buying, my normal, is pasture raised with a humane label. My top 3 brands, and I get these at Kroger. I love the Happy Egg Company. So they say right on the packaging, pasture raised on over 8 acres. And they don't have a certified humane label, but when you go to their website, they'll show you like a cracked egg from theirs, and it's like orange. It's so great. And then like of a conventional egg, which is very yellowy, and you want your yolks to be orange,
deep color, lots of nutrients.
They just started carrying them at Kroger's, at least my local Kroger's, but Myers has them, and they have an organic option, and they have like a conventional like feed, but there's still like the Happy Pasture, blah blah blah, like whatever. But
they also have a heritage blend, which is like blue eggs,
pretty colors,
and I like their packaging.
It's like $8 for a carton, but it's so beautiful.
And the Happy Egg Company comes in a yellow carton, so that's how. And yellow is my favorite color, so that's why I buy them. No, I'm just kidding.
You look like an egg right now.
I know, it is fun though. I love the Happy Egg Company, and I love how transparent they are about their farm. It's a small, I love when companies and brands give you that transparency and trust, and you can look into it and read about it and be like, oh, you know, like I feel good about buying from you. I also like Vital Farms, and it says right on the packaging, tell you 108 square feet per bird. So you could tell you it's pasture raised. And on the carton it says freedom to forage outdoors year round. Like it kind of sounds like a vacation resort, you know, like our eggs or our chicken.
What do I do today?
Yeah, but it's like, oh, and actually inside Vital Farms they give you this little like piece of paper. It has a picture of the chickens and some really great family farm like information.
See, that's awesome.
And
those are the brands that I want to support. And
and their carton's black, and I like their packaging too. And then even Kroger has a brand, Simple Truth pasture raised, and that's 108 per bird, and it's American certified humane. And sometimes you can get those on sale for like $2.69 because it's store brand.
And you might be surprised that if you start reaching out, putting it out on Facebook, is there any like backyard chicken you know, people in my area where I can support them, and you know, you can ask them, like you can come and see their chickens, how they're raised. Like now I get most of my eggs from like a local person that feeds organic feed. They can go in and out, all things. But even at farmers markets, this is like a little like wink wink. Sometimes people will sell, you know, eggs that like they have to process or bleach or clean off the, you know, whatever. But sometimes they have like animal grade eggs, which aren't washed, aren't processed at all.
So you can keep them on the counter.
You can keep them on the counter, but they're like, you can only sell them for eggs. But what you do with them when you go home is your own decision. But you might, like if you're at a farmer's market, you can kind of talk to people, see what, you know.
And I mean, that's great. And I would also say, you know, make sure who you're buying them from, they're not just feeding them feed, that they're also getting to forage in the pasture to get some of that natural omega-3s versus. And I'm sure people would love to say like, come look at my chickens, look at the setup, and then you can decide what you think is.
My next task, our neighbor here has chickens, so he would send over eggs. Daisy actually just went over and ate some the other day. So
Daisy's a dog.
Daisy's a dog, not my kid. She actually just the other day went over and ate some chicken eggs. She wasn't supposed to. However, it is amazing. I love the colors of the eggs from them. But the yolk is amazing. Even like we usually get the Costco eggs because they come in like a double dozen. Because we go through so many eggs, but those are not pasture raised, they're just the cage-free organic. So I mean, there's good, better, and best. We're at the good stage right now, hoping to get to the best where we have our backyard ones. So that's like my long-term goal, but there is just such a difference.
And it's better than buying your conventional.
It is. It's definitely better.
Honestly, Jodi has like, I think 6, 7, 8 dozen in her.
I literally double dozen. It is this high in my fridge right now of eggs.
When you're buying that many, it's
way more economical. But that's future goals is having our own and using our own.
And so if you're wondering, okay, well, how do I know if the eggs I have are good? You know, a good indication we've talked about is the color. So like my shirt, honestly, is probably good. You want it really dark yellow, almost orangish. Means it has really good nutritional levels. And the orange color is actually caused by vitamin K2. And that vitamin is critical in moving calcium into your bones from your bloodstream. So it works in synergy with vitamin D to get the calcium into your body and into your bones and to strengthen your bones. So this is one step to help prevent osteoporosis if you're getting that deep orange because you're getting that K2. And in the American Standard Diet, we are severely lacking K2 due to the lack of pasteurized meats. So you can also get K2 in organic pasture-raised dairy, hard cheeses like Parmesan from pasture-raised milk, and you want the shells to be hard too. We talked about that. If you have conventional eggs, just go get a dozen.
That's
a good idea.
And compare. I mean, you will physically see and feel the difference. It is amazing.
Absolutely.
And I mean, you could literally take one of those eggs and just crunch it like this. Where this one, you literally have to hit it.
Yes, it's hard. And this is so good.
We got our eggs.
And the colors, I love the multiple shades of tans and browns.
It's just more natural.
When we were getting our eggs from a friend before, like she had an issue with, they all stopped and had to like kind of redo her flock, but they'd just be like, I'm not washing them. I'm like, perfect. And she would just hand them to me and they'd be like, dirt on them, and I'm like, these are perfect. Like I love them like this.
And if you didn't know, are you going over that with
No, go ahead.
The outside of the egg.
Yeah.
So my neighbor, and you probably know this as well, and you can probably give me the terminology, and probably explain it way better. What is it called that's on the outside of the egg?
Chicken goo. That's what I call it. Chicken goo. I have no...
There is a name for it, but I don't know what it is.
no,
But
sure.
if you go get a backyard chicken, there is a coating on the egg. And if you wash it, so the coating prevents anything getting into the shell. So if you wash it, then it has to be refrigerated because then anything, could get it. But if you keep your eggs, on the counter, then don't wash it until right before you use it because it will keep, that's why people can keep eggs on their counter in the pantry for, I don't know
or
how
out
long.
in the coop when it's 90 degrees
Yeah.
outside.
So, our neighbor would give us, and I'm like, sweet, because then I just stick them in, after I have my 4 things of eggs from Costco, just put them in the pantry, and I don't have to worry about
And that's kind of what I was
refrigerating them.
referencing with, like, if you have, like, animal, like, okayed animal,
Yeah.
like, eggs at a farmer's market, like, these are straight out of the thing. People, they can't sell them for, like, human use because it goes against our guidelines and sanitation and all the things. So sometimes people will sell them for a cheaper price for animal consumption, like if you're gonna make your own dog food or something. But what you do with those when you go home is different things.
So you want to use
and
them,
they look gross because you'll see like dirt stuck
Feathers.
to it, and you will definitely see feathers on it.
Dirt.
So
It
it
might
is
be poop.
Pretty
sure it's you.
but it will. I mean, you will see stuff stuck
Oh,
on
dirt.
it, but as long as you just keep it away, wash your hands really good, and keep it in there, and then just wash them before you use them, and they're good. And that is how they should be used. That's the way eggs are supposed to be used.
Yeah, we eat eggs pretty much every day with butter, and actually my 4-year-old scrambles them up. I get his little helper stool out, and he makes us scrambled eggs, and he has for like a year now, and we literally eat eggs. Time.
And before you continue, a lot of people, Americans, I guess, when they go to Europe, they're always like, oh my gosh, the yolks, they were so orange, and like, oh my gosh, it was so
Over in
amazing.
Europe?
Yeah, like over in Europe, and it's like, well, all eggs are supposed to be like that. They're supposed to be dense, nutrient dense and rich
Why
in
are
color.
we so behind on that stuff every year? It is so frustrating.
We don't have enough time to talk about that.
We don't. That is
That's
a whole season worth of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the gist of it. I just want to recap a few things. Eggs are good for you.
Yes.
So many vitamins and nutrients.
The full egg.
Yes, the full eggs.
But always talk to your healthcare provider before.
Yeah,
you
Of course,
Yeah.
I'm not a doctor, but I'm telling you to eat those
Do your
pasture eggs.
due diligence and
Yes.
research on your own.
And look for pasture raised and certified humane if possible. I would say pasture raised would be my number 1 pick. Pasture raised, and then if it has a certified humane, great. Well, and if it was organic, but I'd say definitely pasture raised is my number 1. And look for those dark yellow orange oaks, which you can't really look for at the grocery store unless you are cracking them. So I don't recommend cracking the eggs at the grocery
Unless
aisle.
you accidentally just go, whoop,
Oh, that one's orange.
Put that one back.
But just something to be aware of and something you can test out. Like we actually had bought a couple different brands and to see, like you said, go buy one if you have conventional eggs to see the difference, or buy one at the farmer's market. Look at the color of those yolks to see. And the other thing is a good dozen of eggs might cost you $5 or $6. You can find them on sale sometimes, and then like really will buy a bunch, but people don't even hesitate to buy a $5 latte every single day. So you know what, save your, next week, skip a 1 day a week.
And that's
of
also,
that, and
that goes for
buy-
everything. That's all about just your priorities. It really is just, if you are prioritizing, if you want to prioritize your health, you gotta invest in it. And I'm not saying you gotta spend thousands of dollars, but honestly, what is $2?
Yeah.
Or
skip 1 day of your coffee and go get your family some good eggs.
Well, and you're still investing in that $3 carton or $2. I don't even know, like $2 carton, but you're not going to get anything out of it for your body, for your energy, for nutrition. So why not just spend a little bit extra and get the full benefit of.
And thinking back now, with that whole concept of spending more on your priorities, and there are a lot of things that I know that like we don't spend any money on just like the Little Debbie's and stuff like that. I would rather prefer to spend that money on good eggs, good olive oil, good, whatever, than spend it on having all these snacks there, so it's like you're just prioritizing where you're spending that extra money that you're saving by, with conventional food. So it really, when you think about it, you can do it, like just shuffle things around, and that's really what it is. Because I don't feel like I spend a ton on healthy food. It's just that my priorities have changed to where I would rather make sure that I have good things. Especially my persona, my thing is if it's something that I eat all the time, it's going to be really good. You know, like, so I want good rice. I want
we eat eggs every day, so I want them to be good pasture-raised eggs.
Yes. Yeah, like if it's so like smoothies, like I want organic bananas because we eat bananas. Sitting over here, we have literally like 20 bananas because we eat them all the time. So I want organic bananas. I want organic fruit in our smoothies because we drink smoothies all the time. If it was like avocados are, maybe I'll have one a week or something, but those aren't on the top 15. So I don't mind getting the conventional avocado, you know, or the pineapple. I don't have to, you know, it's things that we use sparingly, are less on the high priority of getting organic. So it's just all about, you know, shuffling things around and, you know, spending where you want it.
Edible.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks for joining us today.
And we'll see you in the organic aisle.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening to Cocktails in the Organic Aisle with Christy, Jodi, and Rachel. If you enjoy this podcast, please leave a review, subscribe, and share. You can also continue the conversation on social media at Cocktails in the Organic Aisle. Until next time, see you in the Organic Aisle.